ABC News, read by Paul McCarthy. The Army has deployed 2 Black Hawk helicopters to help with flood evacuations as Queensland deals with torrential rainfall, major flooding and tornado activity. Brisbane, the Sunshine Coast and other parts of the south are on tornado watch, with high winds expected until at least 8 o'clock tonight as ex-tropical cyclone Oswald makes its way south. An elderly man's body has been recovered from waters at Bernard Heads, while a woman and a man are missing in floodwaters in Maryborough and Gympie. Residents in Bundaberg North are being told to evacuate, with hundreds of homes and businesses in the city at risk of flooding as the Bernard River rises. At least 21 swiftwater rescues have taken place, and severe weather warnings for regions stretching from central Queensland to the New South Wales border are in place. In northern New South Wales, the SES is warning residents to expect flash flooding and river flooding. Emma Siosian reports.
A minor flood warning is current for the Bellinger River at Thora, with some upriver communities west of Coffs Harbour already isolated. The Weather Bureau is predicting that flash flooding and river flooding will develop this evening and tomorrow along the coastal river valleys from the Queensland border to the Lower Hunter, as well as the Upper McIntyre Valley. Janet Petit with the Richmond Tweed SES says residents and visitors in the region should prepare for severe weather.
Over the next 12 hours, we should see 100 to 150 millimetres rain, but in some localised areas we will get up to 250 mil.
Sandbagging of some low-lying homes and businesses across the region has begun, and people are being urged to use extreme caution on the region's roads.
A slow-moving bushfire is moving through scrub in northern Victoria. The out-of-control blaze has burned through about 35 hectares of bushland about 10 kilometres south of Violent Town. It's travelling northeasterly. The CFA has issued a watch and act message for Harries Creek, since the fire will affect the area anytime between now and 9:30 this evening. The federal opposition has its sights set on Labor heartland seats in Western Sydney in the lead-up to this year's election. Anna Henderson.
Okay, YouTube. So, you've just heard the news, and I've heard the news, and yes, this is a malt liquor video. Sorry about that, Richard, at Bildar Silverfist. I decided in honour of Australia Day or Invasion Day, I'd try some more of the politically incorrect beer. I'm going to do some other politically incorrect speaking here. I want to ask Tony Abbott, the leader of the Australian Federal Opposition, the leader of the Parliamentary Liberal Party, I want to ask him if he still believes that climate science and global warming is absolute crap. I want to ask Tony Abbott and Barnaby Joyce, the leader of the National Party, whose hometown is in St George in southeast Queensland, which has just been almost washed off the map. I want to ask them too if they seriously believe that it is sustainable politically as well as biologically and environmentally to continue pretending that Gaia's revenge is hitting anybody except the global warming denialists, where they cluster the closest. Everywhere I pointed to on that map is either a coal mine, or it's a compressed natural gas fracking field, or it's a shipping facility, or it's a tourist trap, or it's a broadacre agricultural disaster. The people who don't want to believe in global warming are quite entitled to continue their denialist perspective. But I think it's going to get more and more difficult for them to sustain. But I really want to know, considering that last week Tasmania was on fire, Victoria was on fire, Victoria's still on fire, Canberra was on fire, New South Wales was on fire, and Queensland was on fire. And now all the Queensland bushfires have suddenly turned into flash floods. And the flash floods are moving down the coast. And Canberra got about 60 millimetres last night, so all their bushfires have been put out, just like the fires around here got put out last week. And it's an interesting juxtaposition to suggest that maybe I got a little bit more of a response to my firefighting rain dance than I thought I was going to get, but hey, you know, my son was off on the Coonabarabran fire ground. He spent 2 days in his fire truck and one day being dropped out in the middle of the billy goat country by a helicopter to play rafting. Now, that's not sitting on a blow-up boat getting floated down a river to where the bushfire needs fighting. It's remote area firefighting teams. It's the nearest Australia has to smoke jumpers. So yeah, alright. I'm sorry if Queensland's bushfires have all turned into flash floods, and if that's all inconvenient for the anthropomorphic global warming denialists who cluster really closely in the coal basins and the natural gas basins, trying to export more fool's gold so that the world can burn more fossil fuels so that we can make global warming worse. Now, I'm sorry if they find it inconvenient, but cause and effect, fellas. If you want to keep digging up fossil fuel and shipping it out so the rest of the world can make anthropogenic global warming worse, you're going to have to expect 6 tornadoes at Bundaberg in the last 24 hours. Australia's never had tornadoes. We used to have willy-willies. Pretty little things, you know, pick up the dry leaves. Maybe collect a couple of swimming towels and spiral them across the town swimming pool. We didn't have tornadoes. Tornadoes are what you get in Norte Americano. But emit enough carbon dioxide and everything changes. It's a greenhouse gas. To suggest that, oh gee, it's only gone from 300 parts per million at the start of the 20th century to 400 parts per million now, and it's only a tiny little bit of extra mass in the Earth's atmosphere, why should it matter much? That's like saying, oh look, there's 2 houses and one of them has got an extra 0.1% worth of total overall mass is made up by insulation in the walls and the ceilings. Why would you expect that the insulated house is going to be warmer on a cold night when your fire's going and the wind's howling outside? Why would you expect the insulated house will be warmer than the one without that little extra fraction of a percent worth of mass? It's because some stuff is really good at trapping heat, and carbon dioxide is really good at trapping heat. When you trap extra heat in the atmospheric heat engine, it's just about like pushing, pulling, stepping and treading on every button and lever in a jumbo jet's cockpit. And Tony Abbott and Barnaby Joyce, your side of politics is doing exactly that. You're like a blindfolded, drunk little old lady let loose up the front end of a jumbo jet that was flying on autopilot till you dickheads got control of it. All I can say is, wise up or stop complaining. If you think it's acceptable for you personally to make as much money as you can by sitting on a bulldozer, pushing coal onto a train so that it can be exported to South Asia to run their coal-fired power station because you really want the extra money, them's your choices. If that means that your house is going to get destroyed by 2 floods and a bushfire every 12 months, that's your consequences. Tony Abbott, the mad monk. Barnaby Joyce, the failure. It rhymes with coprolalia. That means talking shit. It also rhymes with echolalia, which means endlessly repeating shit. Mindlessly. Climate science is absolute crap. Global warming doesn't really exist. It's weather's cyclical, man. You get hot days and cold days. It snowed over there. How can the world be warming? Yeah. Planet Earth to Tony Abbott and Barnaby Joyce. You still think global warming's absolute crap? You greedy, selfish, self-centred, self-made, self-oriented little money grubbers. I think you're wrong. And I think the atmospheric heat engine is on my side of the argument. Malt liquor video. Ciao. warbles on a lot to YouTube.